All right, we are back here on the 2024 Dixon County Election Podcast, and we are wrapping up the series that we have started here about the mayor of White Bluff. So we've got 3 candidates for mayor of White Bluff. I've interviewed 2 of them. Today we'll get the last candidate, the final candidate that I need to interview, so that you guys will have an interview from each one of the candidates. And today I've got a guy that I've interviewed before, Mr. Trey Thomas. How you doing today, Trey?
Doing good, Justin. How you doing?
Hey, man, I'm doing pretty good. Thank you for allowing me to interview you and being open to the voters of White Bluff.
That's what I'm here for, yeah.
I've interviewed you before because of Sweet Teas. You're the owner of Sweet Teas in White Bluff, and I do a small business show, so that's where you and I have talked before, and I appreciate you doing this now that you're running for mayor of White Bluff. Let's go ahead and just kind of get into it. So the first question that I always ask the candidates is just to give the voters or whoever's listening, watching, a little information about you, your background, maybe even start at the beginning and tell me, where you grew up and where you went to school, and maybe take us kind of close to present day so we can kind of get an idea of your upbringing. So tell us a little bit about young Trey Thomas.
So young Trey Thomas, I was born in Gainesville, Florida in 1988. From there, I stayed there most of my life, and then about the age of 18, I decided, hey, I want to go do something different in my life, and I joined the Air Force. From there, I started working as an avionics technician on the F-16, the fighter jet. So from there, I really got a lot of good troubleshooting experience, problem solving, and teamwork. And while I was doing all that, I was working on my education as I went. I got an associate's in applied science and avionics technology. And then once I finished my time in the military, I went ahead and got my bachelor's in psychology. I was in nursing school, but because of a back surgery, I had to kind of back out of that one. But I still pursued the health side when I got my master's in health education and behavior from University of Florida. So it's been a good little one for that, but it's definitely a lot of diverse experience and a lot of knowledge I've picked up kind of over the years. And then when I got out of the military, I moved to Waverly. So that's kind of how I got to Tennessee. Just wanted a nice little spot, some land, because that's kind of when you come to Tennessee, that's the vibe you want to get. You want to have your own little spot and a little bit of freedom. But then I met my wife, and she wanted to move closer to her family, and they live in Bellevue. So, we found a good middle ground, and White Bluff was it. Had a house built out here, and the rest has been history. It's been about 9 years, and I love it.
Talk to me a little bit about Sweet Teas, because I brought it up, and people are probably already thinking, hey, making that connection. But so you're the owner of Sweet Teas in White Bluff. Talk to me just a little bit about that, so people can kind of get an idea of your background as a business owner.
Yeah, for sure. So Sweet Teas was something that kind of fell into my lap. I've been a really dedicated customer for a long time, and just gotten to know the owners and the rest of the gelato, and then they approached me and goes, hey, the daughter wasn't wanting to buy the business, and they said, hey, we're looking for someone who wants it, who's going to keep it the same way, not move it out of town, and treat it like it was. I said, well, I'm going to do that, because I don't want to see a business like that, like my happy place, just leave. I bet a lot of people in White Bluff appreciate Sweet Teas too, and what it's continuing to bring to the community. I mean, we got the best dessert for the county for this year too, so that was kind of a good pride point for me, that I'm still doing the same good work that they were doing and just keeping it going. But it's been definitely a challenge adjusting to it, but it's been a fun one. I take care of all the behind the scenes part myself, all the buying, purchasing, all the tax, everything. So, it's things I think will relate very well to handle on the side as mayor.
Okay, that kind of leads into my next question. I'm glad you said that, because my next question is kind of two-sided. Number one, why did you want to run for mayor? Was there like an event that happened? Is it something you've always wanted to do? Kind of take me through that decision, but also kind of while you're answering this, maybe talk a little bit about what the mayor is and what the mayor does. So what is the mayor, and why would you want to do that?
Ooh, so why I wanted to be the mayor. So it all started out in 2020 with COVID. So this is my second time running for mayor, if anyone isn't familiar with that. And when at first I was just kind of mad with how the parks were being operated throughout that, and that just got me an idea just to look more and more into how our local government is run, and add me to lot of questions I ended up having, and I kept asking them and trying to get clear data. And the more I found confusion in government, the more I really wanted to work towards making it more transparent and clear and understandable. And that's been the mindset, is that I want to have this place be a place that just makes sense, that that the average person has a really good idea of what's going on in their town, and they shouldn't feel like they've been left out of the dark or ignored. And that's some of the stories I hear from some folks, but you got to look out for those people, the people who maybe don't want to say anything, but when you talk to them, they let it out and they let you know. It's made me really want to look out for the people of White Bluff, and as we grow and change, because we've had a lot of big developments come through, and as our population grows and changes around that, we're going to need to further tailor things just so we don't get overcrowded or have any of those negative effects of growth that some are anticipating. But going back to the actual duties of the mayor, I mean, it's similar to running a business. I mean, that's from the top down. It's hiring, firing, making sure that we have everything we need, making sure that everyone's prepared, that the teams are together, that they're working. And that's one thing that's just big for me, is just I just see this as a job that you need someone who can be involved and who can really be there, because as we change, we also get new folks, and then we have to train them up and continue to grow, because we just kind of maybe see like a new generation of people coming up and leading in White Bluff.
Yeah, I can definitely see the similarities between, running a town and running a business. I mean, obviously there are going to be some similarities there. And I appreciate you answering the question about what does the mayor do, because that's one of the things I always like to kind of throw into the interview, because so many people, and as a government teacher, I kind of know this, but so many people don't really know kind of what is entailed with the job of being, whether it be the mayor or councilman or whatever, those ins and outs of the government is not something that everybody seems to know. So you talked to me a little bit about, your decision to run for mayor, and I figure whenever you're thinking about this, because I've done it before myself, whenever you're thinking about running for office, you probably think about that particular office that you're running for, and then you have to kind of internally think, would this be something I'm good at? And maybe it's a characteristic about yourself, maybe it's your personality, maybe it's an experience, I'm not sure. But what is it about you that you think would make you a good mayor to serve the people of White Bluff?
I definitely think that the teamwork experience I got in the military, that is going to be huge, because one of my big things is going with a cohesive leadership style, where I want to take everyone and we all want to be on the same page and work together. And that's, can be a very difficult thing to do, but it's something that I've been able to do time and time again. We change bases, you get new people you work with. It's always an ongoing change, and same thing with towns. It's all, moving in the same format. And then, let me do 1 second. Can you give me the last bit of that one?
So what makes you like a good candidate? So your experiences or personality, things like that.
Yes, that's it. Personality-wise, I just love talking to people, and I really kind of empathize with them, and I want to make sure that when I hear someone, like, I'm really hearing what they're really wanting to say, what they mean, because some people will say something but they won't mean it. They just maybe just kind of want to back away from something that may seems like, oh well, they're not going to listen to me, or they're not going to do this. For me, that's not the case. I will sit down with anybody about any time and just listen to them, and I will make sure that their voice, when it comes to the meetings, hey, this person over here spoke to me, or if they don't want their name, hey, a citizen told me this, and I want to bring this out and discuss this as a council. And that's the way we're going to get things done. But if you're not listening to folks, if you're not going out and just day to day just seeing how the town is, you're going to get lost on some of those things. I just don't want to do that. I want to be so connected, and everyone to have an idea of what's where their place is in town, and how they can make it better.
And you've kind of already touched on this, but my next question would be, how would you do this job? How would you sort of handle being the mayor of White Bluff? And sort of the way that I usually frame this question is, if you are an incumbent, what are the things that you've done that you're very proud of? If you're somebody who's coming into the job for the first time, I usually say, what would you do differently? And not necessarily different from the person that's in there right now, so we're not trying to pick that person apart.
Yeah.
What would you do differently in the sense of, differently from what the mayor of Charlotte does, or from the mayor of White Bluff, or from what any mayor in the past has done? What would be sort of your unique, probably new, take on, being the mayor? Basically, overall, what would you do differently?
Yeah, so for me, for having that problem-solving background, kind of troubleshooting aircraft, I really like to organize the data and really get a look at what we're seeing. So one thing I want to do differently is take a full canvas of all the city's, the public property, and all the roads, sidewalks, parks, and so that way we exactly know what we're dealing with, so we can move forward with it. Because I think, we rely on the department heads to get to us and say what they need to say, and when it comes time for budget and stuff, but often there's other things that don't get hit on that, or maybe they feel like, hey, we're not going to get it anyways. But I want to go through and work with each employee, each department head, and just feel what it is like for them on a day-to-day basis. Because I'm the kind of person who wants to lead from the front, but I also want to, I won't make someone do something that I'm not willing to do myself. So like I said, if we're shorthanded and we need help, I'm be the one to go out there and help. If we can save money by me going out there and doing it, I'm all for that.
Most of the questions that I ask are questions that are, about things in the past, or, kind of currently what's happening. But this next question, I kind of want to hit from a little bit of a different angle. I've been around here for a long time, my whole life, basically. And White Bluff has changed a lot. I can remember, and I talked about this in one of the previous interviews, but I can remember when we played baseball over on the site where the city hall is now. It used to be the Little League Park right there.
The Field of Dreams is right there in that spot.
And then the other field, there's two fields. One of them was up there, and the other one was where the Field of Dreams is. And, so much has changed. We've got a new baseball park. We've got a new city hall. We're sitting right now in the Bibb Center, which is,
wonderful.
It's fantastic. I mean, this is a beautiful building for this size of a town. I don't think there's a whole lot of towns this size that have something this nice and have a library and things like that. So, I've kind of seen White Bluff grow a lot in the 40 years I've been alive, and you kind of wonder where it's going to go in the next 40 years.
Right.
And so that's kind of my next question is, what do you see as your vision for the future of White Bluff? I mean, like I said, we've seen so many changes. There's construction going on all the time. Some people love that. Some people hate that. And I get both sides of it.
Yeah.
But what is your vision for the future of White Bluff? What would you like to see White Bluff be, down the road 20, 40 years?
I would love to see buildings like this always full of people having classes, learning. I mean, when we have public spaces, we have them, we invest in them because we want them to be used and help the community. Like the community center we have that's down by the Field of Dreams, that thing doesn't get rented out maybe about 5 to 7 times a year. And, in essence, we're losing money on that building. And going and actually looking to like fill that and maybe get a spot for like the youth to hang out after school, just have someone go volunteer for there for 3 hours, just so everyone can have a safe spot. I mean, right now they come to Sweet Teas and hang out there, but I mean, it would be nice to have those things available. Just something that keeps them out of the playground too, because they do sometimes go into the playground and cause some issues there. We want to avoid that as much as possible by giving them their own space to play at. As for like the growth of the town, I really do want to go very carefully. We put a lot of big developments in, so yes, we can do studies and stuff. I'm glad that we're doing the studies that we're doing, but at the same time, we need to make sure it's fit and it's fits with the community and it's harmonious. That that the neighbors around are widely accepting of it. Because I mean, at the end of the day, you're putting something somewhere and it's affecting other people around you, and as long as we're looking out for those people, I think we're going to be building good developments, and that's where it comes from. Hey, going to talk to all these people and just make sure that works. But over time, if we continue to do like that in 20, 30, 40 years, we're going to have a very robust, well-connected society to where we don't have to have a car to go everywhere, because the walkability and bike scores for here are 14 and 9, I think. So there's a lot of improvement, and I think being able to get people able to walk more and just pass by, because me, even now, I walk up and down the streets all the time, and it's just nice just to see a neighbor and have a conversation and just get to know someone, because so many people nowadays don't know their neighbors. If they do, it's because, well, so and so made noise or something like that, and I had to go talk to them. But at some point, you just hope your neighbor's respectable and go about your business. But I would like to see the community more together. I want to see them able to come together and fund things that they want, that maybe that we don't want to tax the average person for. And that's why I always tell people, I said, hey, it just if you want to donate some way, just you donate to the town, either your time, or if you got money or assets that you want to donate, consider doing stuff like that. That's what's going to help our town out, and especially getting like this nature park that we're getting here.
Yeah.
I'm so excited about
Me too,
that.
yeah.
I just think, I think next year, I think we're starting on it, and I've seen the plans for it, and it's really cool. Like, just making places like that and destinations. I want people to have a reason to come to White Bluff. Same thing with all the businesses. I'd rather it, because in the mornings, we don't get a lot of traffic between like 9 and 12, 1 o'clock. We don't. But if we could start funneling some of the tourism, from the early day people, come out to White Bluff, come see what we have, come, just see what it's like here, enjoy the small town life, and then go back to Nashville and then go back home. But everyone else, by the time everyone, who lives in White Bluff works somewhere else and comes back, they maybe spent their money elsewhere. So we got to, either we're, build the commercial in that we need to bolster and kind of, improve the amount of money we get in, because we get a lot more money from taxes than we do from property, like sales tax than property tax. So you got to start thinking, well, if we're going to raise money, how are we going to best do that? And if we can get the people who just come through and just want to come by and just enjoy our town for what it is and keep on going, that's fine. We appreciate that. But that may be the best way to kind of do that. And as I said, hopefully in doing some things too, where we can. One thing I would like to see too is for like minor infractions, like hey, you ran a stop sign or a little speeding or something like that, or littering. I like to see community service be an option to kind of deal with some of those things, because maybe some people don't have the money, but you know what? You got 3 or 4 hours on a Saturday. Let's go pick up trash. Because I want this to be like a model community that everyone in the area will look at and go, hey, how do we get to be more like White Bluff? And that way, just have the mindset, just kind of keep dissipating through until finally I think we can really see change where government is a lot more easier to make sense and people are just happy to be there. I want every community to feel like that, not just ours. But if I can start here and work out, that's the goal.
Appreciate you answering all of my questions. I don't ask a whole lot of specific questions. I like to ask some general questions and just kind of get an idea of who you are and give the voters an idea of who you are. But at this point in the conversation, I do want to give you the chance to talk about anything that maybe we haven't mentioned yet, or if there's any main points of your campaign that you want to make sure that you get across. I just want to give you that opportunity here. If there's anything that we haven't talked about at all, this would be a good time to talk about it. Is there anything we haven't touched on that you would like to tell the people?
We covered quite a bit, but I would say that, one thing I really want to do is show the value of what local government brings to the people. Because sometimes, yes, taxes are obligatory. You have to do it based on where you live at, and that's just how it is. But if I ever go to a point where, like, I say, hey, it's time for a tax raise, you're sure enough, I'm going to give you guys a reasoning. I'm going to let you know why, because that's important. And I'm going to help you see the value in it, and that happens for discussion. That's where, before the budget time happens, I'm out talking to people, going, hey, this is kind of my ideas. Let's start running them by just the average citizen and see what they think. And I think having that and bringing that feedback back and presenting that along with it, may help just guide the decision for council. Because I can all day long I can go and present, hey, I want this and this is the rate I want it at, and they can tell me no, and that's just how it is. And unless I can work across the table and do that, it's not going to get done, other than from what the council wants to do. My goal is to kind of really just be at a point with everyone on council where at any point, hey, I can work with you no matter your viewpoint. I'll work with you. I'll listen to you. I'll get on your level, get your perspective, and figure out what I can do to make changes to help everyone feel more comfortable with it, because that's what it's all about, just making this an easy, comfortable, and sensible thing, so we don't have the frustration, the confusion, and all the million questions on Facebook that people ask. And it's fine, I'm glad they ask those questions, but I want it to be easier. I want them to be able to, hey, if they got an issue with their road, go to the website, here's a map of White Bluff, click your road. It'll probably, and I want to have it set up when I organize it to go like, we know about this pothole here, this crack in the road, this shoulder's broken, we know about that. And then that way they can go, okay, they already know about the problem we have, and I'll put there kind of on the priority-wise an estimate of time of when you think it's going to get done. And that's what people need to see. So like, oh, I'm mad about this. Well, don't worry, we're looking at it for you already. And I want you to know that, and I'm going to put it up there up front, because you deserve to know how I'm doing something and why I'm doing something. And that's kind of what I did earlier. I wrote a series of, how I would do every duty of the mayor and why I would do it. And, that's what I present to people when they ask about me, is because, you want to know what I'm up to and why I'm doing it. This is it. This is clear and transparent as it get. I don't have anything other than my home and my business here, and I like that. It's simple. There's no weird conflicts. There's no anything else. It's just me and this town and doing the best I can to make it right for everyone here.
Well, Trey, thank you. I appreciate this. You're the third candidate for mayor of White Bluff that I've had the pleasure to interview. So now we've done all three. I will let the people know at home, we did kind of record these in advance, and the other two I think we did just before the White Bluff Festival this past weekend.
Yes.
So as I was doing those, I asked them, a little bit about, the festival, and I would like to ask you as well.
Yeah.
Your answer will be a little bit different, because I asked them prior to the festival. We're actually recording this third one just afterwards.
Yeah.
So how did the festival go this past weekend? And,
I love
like I told Linda and Stephanie, one of the things that I really love about small towns around here are the festivals.
Yeah.
And almost every town has got at least one. White Bluff has several. We're lucky. We've got,
I want more.
4th of July, we got the Fall Festival, and then the Electric Christmas Parade,
Yeah.
right? Talk to me a little bit about, what are your thoughts on these festivals, how they bring people together, and maybe just give us an update on how the festival went this weekend.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the festival was awesome. I loved it. Had a lot of events that day, so I got my tent later in the day. Got a little sun, as you can tell, but no, it was a wonderful time. I got to talk to a lot of people, and I just sat there with a smile, and just everyone who wanted to come by and talk to me, any question they wanted, I answered it. And festivals like that, it was kind of cool, because the people next to me in the booth have been people I've been next to in other events, so we're like event buddies and stuff. So it's people I never would have ran into and talked to. And I think for everyone at that festival, every vendor, every person who walked by, you got to meet someone new and network and connect and come together. And I said, I am very glad that we do so many festivals already. I would just love to see more, because there's things. I know that the Apple Butter Festival used to be something that we'd have here. I want to find something that is very White Bluff, and kind of use that as a focus point. Maybe do every season have a large festival of some sort. I'd like to see Main Street go all the way down, just keep going and just fill it up. So the turnout here was really good. Just the weather was nice, everything was good. I couldn't ask for a better day. Yeah, really couldn't.
It's cooled off a little bit. I've got on my hoodie today because
Yeah.
the temperature dropped a little bit today, so it's not quite as warm as it's been, but the weather's been good, and it was good on Saturday, and now I guess we're looking forward to the Electric Christmas Parade, which is not too far away, but that's always a good one too.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that one's one of the longer parades, but I'm happy. It's like there's always. The streets are always lined full of people, and luckily I got kind of a vantage point on, where I'm at on 70. But yeah, it just for the last 6 years I've gone to the parade. It's just been wonderful. It's so much creativity, and everyone puts their heart into all their floats, and it just you really see that dedication come through, and that's what it's about. It just come together, have fun, put something together, and just be you. Be your group. Whatever you gotta do, just come out there, have fun.
I love it. It's something unique that not everybody does,
Yeah.
and I'm very thankful for towns like White Bluff.
Yeah.
In Charlotte, Dixon, Burns, all of them. But White Bluff does have their very unique events, and I've always grown up coming out here and going to these events, and my kids are now getting to come, and then hopefully their kids, and the circle of life, I guess, kind of goes on.
That's
right?
it. Yeah.
Well, thanks, Trey. I appreciate you doing this. Appreciate you coming in here and talking to me. Like I said, this is the third of the interviews. I don't ask a whole lot of specific questions because I really just want you guys to get an idea of who these candidates are. Now, if you want to ask them some specific questions, the last question that I always ask is if you don't mind giving out some contact information for yourself, because what'll happen is, and this happens every time, somebody will watch the interview and they'll inbox me and say, you should have asked them this question, or you should have asked them this question. And my response is always, hey, that's why I ask them at the very end for their contact information. You feel free to ask them any specific question you want, and they'll either answer it for you or they won't. So if you don't mind giving out some contact information for anybody who may want to follow up.
Yeah, sure thing. So there's two good ways to really get a hold of me. The first way is on Facebook. Search Trey Thomas. You'll see me. I'll be in my Sweet Tea shirt and stuff. And then being at Sweet Teas. If you see me at Sweet Teas, by all means, if we're not that busy, please talk to me. I will make time and step aside as much as possible. And then if anyone wants to give me a call, I do prefer a text. It would be at 931-622-5423. And that's the best way to get a hold of me. Usually text is a little bit easier. That way I can kind of organize a bit better and make sure I get back to the right people in time. But yeah, that's about it. And if you see me walking around, even just stop by, say hi, anything.
Come by Sweet Teas and get you a snack.
Yeah, I'm happy with that too. I said that's one of the good things about this is that I'm able to kind of separate the mayor side and the Sweet Tea side a bit, and it's good to do that, because I know some people kind of ask me, isn't there a conflict? I'm like, no, I don't think it is, because I'm aware of my location and things like that, but that's why I like to state my reason why for things, so people know, they can get a feel for me, kind of like straight up, this is what he's really saying and why. It's not the what if that happened or what if this. Just ask me to my face. I'm an open book. I'll tell you about anything you need to know, anything you want to ask about me, go for it. That's just how I work, and that's how I feel government, elected officials should be. That's also why, like on council, I want to, when we do votes, it's yes or no, and then you tell me why. Because the voters, even all the citizens, even people who don't live in live in the city limits of White Bluff, they deserve to hear what the leaders have to say about the area, how it's going to affect them, and the reasoning behind it. It's been a big thing. But those are the best ways to get a hold of me. I said I'll talk about anything, me. But it's all about what the needs are of the people, and ask away.
Awesome. Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate that, and I appreciate you, doing this. And I just want to say to everybody that I appreciate all three of the candidates that are running for White Bluff mayor sitting down with me and answering my questions. All three were super open to this, transparent. Everybody was very willing to do this, and I really appreciate that. And just real quick before we finish, I want to have a quick public service announcement. Today is the day before early voting begins. Early voting lasts for a couple of weeks, and so there are a lot of opportunities for you to vote. Whether you go before Election Day or whether you decide to wait, which for a lot of people, I understand there's a tradition of waiting and going on Election Day. But I do want to say that I wish more people would go out and vote. Mm-hmm. We had a primary a couple of months ago, and it was the lowest turnout that we've had in 20 years. And people around here just aren't voting as much as they used to. I don't do this show to make any money. We don't have sponsors for this show. I would reject sponsors for this particular show because it's not really about making money. This show is really just about spreading the word about the candidates to the community, and also to raise awareness about voting. And that's why I do this show. I take time out of my day to come and do this because I want you all to know who's running and to know a little bit about them and to have their contact information so that you can reach out, so you can make an informed decision. The one thing I never like to hear is that somebody didn't vote because they didn't know who to vote for, or they didn't know anything about the candidates. And I hear that a lot, more than you would imagine. And that was really the motivation for this show when we first started doing it, was to just create awareness and to give you all an opportunity to, like I said, know a little bit more about the candidates. And I'm proud that we have done that, and we will continue to do that. I've spoke with a few of the candidates in Burns, so we look forward to another short series of a few more interviews if we can get those lined up. And we will also have some election coverage on election night. And I think I did mention this. I can't remember if I mentioned this in the other episodes or not, so let me go ahead and mention this again. If I've already mentioned it, I'm sorry I'm repeating myself, but election night, we are going to have some coverage live from Burns, Tennessee. Burns has a new pizza shop that is opening up, and I don't have all the details on it yet, so don't kill me. But it's got a cool name. I've already heard the name. I don't know if that's all finalized yet, so I don't want to give anything away. But they're supposed to be opening in the next few days, and will be open by election night. And I'm going to be there. I think I've got a co-host lined up with me, and also we've got some guests who will be coming. Rusty Grove, I know for sure, is going to be a guest because he's the one who kind of came up with this idea. So thanks, Rusty, for letting us be a part of it. But we're gonna go live from the pizzeria right there in the town, right in the center of the town of Burns. It's right there by the Mexican restaurant. And if you're from Burns, and you know what I'm talking about, because we only have one Mexican restaurant. We only have one restaurant, I believe. Yeah. Well, we used to. Well, I don't want to talk about that. I'm still sad about Ott's moving to Charlotte.
I know.
But anyways, we will have some election coverage for you live from Burns, and I'm going to do my best to invite all the different candidates to stop by, talk to us. Like I said, I've got a co-host, Alex Span, I believe, is going to be my co-host. So we've talked a little bit about it. So if that's not the case, then maybe I shouldn't have said that. But that's what we're planning for election night, and I'm excited about it. Yeah. I think it's great that not only are we having some pre-election coverage, being able to do these interviews, but also we will have election coverage that night. We will be able to let you know on the air as we get the results in, and we hope that'll be a lot of fun for you. And me and Rusty are hoping that will become a tradition in Burns. And nothing against White Bluff, Charlotte, or Dixon, but, you know, hey, I'm from Burns, and I want to do it close to my house, and that's what Rusty said as well. So the Burns boys are going to do some coverage this year on election night, and we hope you'll be a part of that, whether you come down and get you a bite to eat and support the business, or whether you watch us live on the DCTV network or on Dixon County Radio. We do have that coming for you. But again, Trey, thank you for letting me do my little PSA on your episode. Appreciate you, buddy. I thank you so much for doing this, and we'll go ahead and close out now. And be watching for some more episodes soon from the folks running for Burns City Council, and maybe Rusty Grove will do an interview with us, even though he's running uncontested. But thank you guys for watching. Appreciate you. Don't forget to vote.